Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Carolyn and I am a mama to twin baby girls named Summer and Winter. And as a family of 4, we have traveled all the way from the US to Germany. Our babies are a little bit over 14 months old and they did so well on the 10-hour long flight plus 2-hour layover and then another flight that was just a little over 1 hour. In this video, I'm sharing all of my tips and just our experience traveling in the middle of 2021 during this pandemic and with twins. So I hope that you find this helpful. If you are looking to travel with a baby or a toddler, they're kind of in that in-between phase. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. So from the very start, we coordinated our flight times to allow the girls to be able to nap on the way to the airport, and that worked out really well. Then parking at the airport, we were waiting for a shuttle, but the shuttle actually never came, which was a major bummer, and we ended up having to walk quite a ways. So definitely allow extra time if you're thinking of flying. Then finally, after maneuvering through construction on the inside of the airport, we got to our gate, but then we ran into a new challenge. For traveling to Germany, there is a current requirement to have a negative COVID test that's taken within 48 hours of actually entering Germany. But the actual results for these tests sometimes take up to 72 hours to receive, and you also have to present them in order to get on the plane. So even though we took our tests at the right time, we didn't have our results by check-in. So they put us on a waiting list to get us through security, and then we had to actually take tests again at the airport. We honestly didn't know if we were actually going to get on the plane, and we had to spend another $400. There was a lot of running.
Honestly, never thought I would run so much in an airport. This is crazy.
So after we took our tests, my husband and the girls waited at the gate and I waited for the results. And then as soon as I got them, I had to physically get them. Then I ran to the gate with them. And luckily we were both negative, so that was a plus. And the girls weren't required to test because they're under the age of 6. Ironically, after we landed in Frankfurt, we saw that we actually had received our tests about an hour after takeoff, of course. So now we both have 2 negative tests. But honestly, we were just so thankful that we were able to make it onto the flight, and then once we were on, things were a lot more smooth. They actually put us in seats right in front of one another instead of having the bassinet seats this time, because apparently all the bassinet seats were taken. Lots of babies flying internationally today, but the flight was mostly empty, which was really nice, and that allowed us to have extra space for the girls. Another big tip if you are flying with little ones is to use your disinfectant wipes that you can bring with you, or you can also usually get them from the airline to use in your space and disinfect anything they might touch. In case anyone is curious, this is what the baby lap seatbelt looks like. It's just simply a little red belt that attaches to the normal adult belt.
Secured correctly.
How you doing, Mama? Hello.
Make sure that your backrest is in an upright position and your window shade open.
I love that there was a little kids section in each of the tablet displays. They didn't really watch a whole lot, but it was nice for the time being. And then also bringing lots of snacks was a great idea. Another thing that's really good to know if you're ever considering bringing a baby on board an airplane is you need to make sure that they are sucking something like a bottle or breastfeeding while during takeoff and landing. This is really important to help their ears pop. It was also really nice that the airplane wasn't very full, and the couple people that were sitting directly next to us were very friendly and didn't mind the babies stretching their legs a little bit in the aisle. Now keep in mind, they're not supposed to be in the aisle because they don't want to block anything, so it's always important to be able to put them back in their seat quickly if somebody is walking down the aisle. Now, if you're able to book the bassinet seat in advance, then you actually have more leg room and they can stand up there. It's just because we didn't book our flights more than 4 days in advance. This was a very short notice flight. We didn't have a chance to book those seats, and that's why we got basically whatever was left over. We were just very thankful to have space. After they played a little while, we switched babies, and now I have Summer with me. Yeah. After getting a little bit more energy out, we moved on to our evening routine. So we fed them dinner, and the plane actually provided a little bit of food and then also heated up some things for us that we brought. And then we brought bibs and spoons for the babies, so we fed them and then moved on to our routine of kind of winding down before bed. Yeah, you got a toy. That's so nice. Does she like her toy? Next, we got the girls dressed for bed in their sleep sacks, and we built a little makeshift bed for them with lots of pillows and blankets, and then they each got a bottle of milk as well as a bedtime toy to wind down with. It helped that the lights were off in the airplane as well. During a nighttime flight, this is the best time to try to do a nighttime routine. For anyone else who's flying with the baby, it's definitely helpful if you can try to coordinate the time frame so that it's during a time when they're either napping or usually going to bed. Last night you tried to make me angry, yeah, but this time I get you mad. Oh, don't need apologies enough for this. I'm burning for you. Can't get enough of the weekend. I wanna seize the night like I can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. The girls were just so sweet and peaceful while they were sleeping. I just couldn't help myself but get some really cute videos of them while they were asleep. Now, I will tell you, while they were sleeping, another family with a really loud little kid moved to the area where we were sitting, which was kind of a bummer because they ended up waking up the girls, but the girls did really good. They handled it well. How's she doing?
Back asleep.
Back asleep? Yeah, this one's awake now. Well, she might fall asleep on me. We'll see. That's you. So I thought I would just show you guys what one of the changing areas looks like inside the bathroom that was near us. This is definitely not the biggest on the airplane, and there are definitely ones that are bigger, but the location that we were in made it kind of hard to get to the bigger one, and we only could get to the bigger one if there was absolutely nobody in the aisle. Now, if you're seated in the bassinets, then you will actually have access to a bigger changing area and bigger bathroom. So just something to keep in mind if you're able to book the bassinets.
You have to wash your hands now.
Okay, let's get you ready.
Good job.
You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? Hi. just showing how this seatbelt works. I think this is a little bit more clear than maybe what I filmed earlier. So in case you're curious how it works, again, super simple and they don't mind it at all. It was also helpful to dress the babies in layers, and this is just good in general for anybody flying because it gives you maximum opportunities for comfort. So on this trip, we only had a 2-hour layover versus last time we flew, we had a 5-hour layover. So this was much better. And as you can see, there were still a good amount of people in the airport, but the girls did really well. We just kind of hung out, watched planes outside, and then got to even practice our walking. They just started walking recently, which is so exciting. So we walked around a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. And then our next flight after the 10-hour flight was only a 1-hour flight. So this one is much shorter, and we thought that it would also be helpful to try to help the girls get lots of energy out. And that is definitely what it did when they were walking around. It was just so cute and all eyes were on us. But we tried to just do our best to keep them in one area as well while making sure that they don't put their hands on the floor. I'd say that was our biggest concern, was just trying to keep them not putting their hands on things and keeping them entertained and happy. And then once we got on to our next flight, all the energy was out and they actually slept, which was great. And you'll see that soon. Another suggestion I have, if you have a baby that you're traveling with that isn't walking yet, like how we were when we were traveling last time, the girls were only about 9 months old, is we brought a baby play mat with us, and that kept them able to play and sit down and roll around, and we didn't have to worry too much about them touching the floor because they were on a clean play mat. I'll leave a link for this in the description in case anyone is looking for one. Another thing that's nice about traveling with little kids is most airlines will make an announcement to allow families with young children to board first. So we got the girls ready, got them onto the suitcases again, and then just hung out by the gate. And then we were one of the first to be able to get on the airplane, which is nice because then when you're walking around, there's nobody that is already sitting down. So it just gives you a little bit more room to get through and also more time to get situated. I definitely recommend getting on early if you can. Hi, what you got there? The smaller flight was actually a lot more busy than our first flight. As you can see, it's almost fully booked, but luckily we were able to each have one seat for our babies. And again, on this flight, we were sitting in front of one another because there are only enough oxygen masks for one baby per row. Per 3 seats anyways, there's only one extra mask. Then, just like before, we did a bottle during takeoff and landing, and this helped that suction motion again to help their ears pop so that they don't get a headache or anything like that during the elevation change. Works like magic. And breastfeeding would also work if that's something that you're doing right now as well. And just like that, this one was out. This is exactly what happened last time we flew internationally. It's almost inevitable that after a 10-hour flight, the next flight, they just fall asleep because they're so tired. Basically, they just pulled an all-nighter. I even changed positions a little bit to try to get more comfortable and try to help her be most comfortable. As long as they are wearing the seatbelt, all is well. For this flight, I was holding Winter and my husband was holding our sweet Summer, and she was totally out as well. Both of our babies slept the entire flight all the way till landing at our final destination, and she's still out. It was just so sweet. After retrieving all of our bags, we were picked up by a shuttle, and we had already coordinated car seats that they provided. And then the girls ended up eventually both falling asleep all the way to our final location, which was about an hour car ride. It was so sweet, and they did so well. Well, thanks again for watching. I hope you found this helpful, watching us flying all the way from the US to Germany with twin babies that are 1 year old. And if you have any other questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and happy travels. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you want to. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.